Good morning. Good morning, fellow humans. And as always, we spell that Huemonds, colorful nuts. October 17th. Okay, cool. Colorful nuts. That's the best way to look at ourselves, not as dirty rags, sinful nature. We're not perfect. That's a bit hot. Okay, so here we are, Saturday, October 4th, 2025. I will be in Las Wages today, meeting with our spiritual director, talking about small groups, the Didache, and other vital things. Right, okay. Chat GPT, Perplexity, all of that good stuff. I got my new shoelaces yesterday. Going for the more conservative black. Not. Okay, so here we are, October 4th, 2025. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. Here we are in southwestern Nevada, west of Sin City, east of Death Valley, south of Area 51. Right. Hard scrabble, sharp elbowed, boom, boom. Pistol packing, rootin' tootin' people. You can always tell someone from here, you just can't tell them much. That's the thing. They know everything. Not students. These people are not students. They know because they've been there, been around, you know. So, but here we are. And when I say we, I mean our students and interested people, people who have a student nature, wanting to learn. Part of the thing with our brain, ABC. A, always B, B, C, learning, always be learning. Right, righto. And our theme of today is what? What's our theme of today? What is grace? Oh, okay, that's a good one. We can talk about that. We had a discussion about that in our Monday Unified Man's Group. And it's an interesting thing. In law school, the idea is you take this and you cram it down into the tightest packed ball of knowledge you can get. Whereas it seems like in Bible study with people who are not well educated, they take this, they take a mustard seed, and they try to build a mountain out of it. And they're wandering and wavering and meandering and yeah. There we go. Boom, got it, ready to go, locked and loaded. Locked and loaded. What is grace? But before we do that, let's look at our worksheet. See what we got here. Okay, so one thing, we have the small group Didache. What? Small group Didache. What the heck does that mean? Or as some one of our Protestant brothers who was critiquing it on a YouTube called it the Didache. The Didache isn't real. It's the Didache. Didache. All right. Advice from an 80-year-old. Remember, no one makes it alone. By the way, this is day 6 in week 4, right down to the very end here, where we at. Week 4.3. Four 4.4. Almost there, people. So, week 4, day 6. Kingdom of Heaven. Really talking about the categorical imperative. Categorical imperative, something very vital and important. Or not, maybe. Let's see what Seth Godin has to say. The questions before the questions. Quite long. How are we doing for time? Okay, we'll go for it. The questions before the questions. I'm applying to work at Disney. Do you know anyone who can give me a reference? My 2 partners are planning a new company. Can we ask you for feedback on your business plan before we go out to raise our seed round? We're moving to Centerville. Which neighborhood should we consider? Which famous college should I apply to? These are fine questions to ask, but they might be concealing the questions we need to ask first. Thanks to the hype bubble, plenty of would-be entrepreneurs have decided that a real business needs VC funding. Some of the most fun you can have starting a business is hanging out with your partners pre-business, barnstorming ideas, and the natural next step seems to be running the project as a team, as partners. Applying to jobs at famous companies feels like a safe thing to do, and moving to town your friends admire feels like a smart move. ... Except maybe you shouldn't have partners. Maybe your business shouldn't be investor backed. Maybe you'd be happier in an apartment in a city or living overseas for a year. Perhaps you should consider a gap year or find a less famous but more effective university or spend the time and money to learn a trade instead. Before you start arranging the candles on the cake, it might pay to think about what flavor cake you're going to get, whether you're going to bake it yourself or whether there should be a cake or surprise party at all. Once you fall in love with a future that has a cake in it, you've closed the door to all other options. Too much choice can be paralyzing, but too much choice is also a rare moment of freedom, a moment where it might pay to pause for a moment before backing into the obvious next steps. It turns out that just a few minutes spent reconsidering these obvious next steps can change everything for the better. Here's the actionable tactic. When presented with these moments of freedom, don't simply articulate one plan needing improvement. Instead, find the time to create 3 different plans that don't overlap at all. Can you refine and improve each one enough that you'd be happy randomly choosing any one of them? Because by the time you've built out 3 independent plans, it's quite likely that you'll have discovered the right path. Cool, daddy-o. Okay, let's see what's going on. Maticus Phonaticus here. Mickey Mouse can give you a reference. As expected. Alrighty then. Okay. Whatever. All right. Should we talk about grace? Or should we talk about the Didache? Didache. Coffee's just too hot. It's not the coffee that's hot. It's the container that keeps it hot. But how does it know? Okay, grace. What is grace? Well, if we ask our friends, our theologian, our Protestant theologian friend, tell me about grace. Grace is understood as the unmerited favor and gift of God. given freely and received through faith in Jesus Christ alone. Okay. So for the last 3 weeks on Thursday, there's been a discussion of grace. And the general theme in Bible study is I'm asked a question and I ask the Holy Spirit to tell me what it means. And then I go through the Bible and I have something and I put in a search for every place where the word grace is used. And then I say, Ephesians 2:8-9, for by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing, it is a gift of God, not the result of works, so that no one may boast. Okay, also I'll throw that quote out. Have I explained what grace is? No. I'll throw out Romans 3:24, justified by his grace as a gift through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus. I'll throw out Titus 3:7, so that being justified by his grace, we might become heirs according to the hope. So what I've done is I've just looked at where the word grace appears, and I quote where grace appears, but what have I not done? I haven't said really what grace is. I haven't focused on grace. I haven't done, like, what did Jesus say about grace? Well, Jesus explicitly used the word grace rarely. But his life teachings, parables, and actions embody and reveal grace in deep ways that the New Testament writers draw out. Okay. Go down that path. What does the Bible say about grace? Many questions. What Protestant theologian has written about grace? Okay, Martin Luther, John Calvin, Sproul, James Montgomery, John Barclay, Richard Phillips, Steele, Thomas, Cornelius Venema. These theologians have written extensively about grace. So what do they say about grace? That would be a way to do it. What do people who are experts at this say grace is? Not what are all the places it's used in the New Testament or in the Bible? Where is it used? I get to repeat those, but I never answer the question. So in law school, this is how you'd break it down. Okay, so if the rule, Iraq, if the rule is unmerited favor is as the unmerited favor and gift of God, freely given and received through faith in Jesus Christ alone. Okay, so what does that mean? Unmerited favor. What does unmerited mean? You didn't do anything to earn it. You did nothing. Favor, something good. So unmerited favor and gift. So what is a gift? A gift is giving something with no expectation of return. I give you a bicycle. I have no expectation of anything. I don't expect you to ride the bike, keep the bike, do the bike. The bike is yours. You do with it whatever you want. You don't owe me money for the bike. It's your bike. It's a gift given freely. So break that down. There's no like, well, if you do this, then I'll do that. Hey, I know I don't deserve it, God, but can you show me favor and give me a gift and I'll do this for you? Or, you owe me, God, you promised me this in the past, so that is not grace. But here's the key, because questions come up. Does God bestow grace on everyone? And the answer is no. It's received through faith in Jesus Christ alone. So if you're not a Christian, if you don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah, if you're not a Christian, God does not grant you grace, unmerited favor. Because what? you don't believe in his. Wow. Boom. That's it. Mic drop. There we go. There we go, people. Okay, so that's grace, unmerited favor, given freely by God for those who believe in Jesus. For by grace we are saved, by God's unmerited favor and gift, freely given. Ponder that for a minute. Okay, small group Didache, small group Didache. There is a document attached I'm very proud of. It's a good first start. Small group Didache. What's the point? What is the Didache? Well, we had a talk about it the other day. It is a manuscript from the early church, maybe written as early as 70, the year 70. And it's kind of like, here's how churches should operate. A universal Catholic church. So they're all doing the same thing. We're not fragmenting out. So the Didache is a document that was used for that. It's not part of the Bible, but that doesn't mean it's not valid. There are hundreds and thousands. There's 9 volumes of things, of writings from the early people that could have been included in the Bible. They were not included because there were, I'm sure, practical considerations. We just can't have all this stuff. We don't have copiers and printers yet. We don't have computers yet. So this has to be handwritten out. We can't, it's got to be, what is the, as Seth Godin would say, the smallest viable collection, in this case, the smallest viable collection. What is that? That's going to be the canon. But around the canon is other stuff that is valid. It's just not to the level of being in the Bible, being in the document we call the Bible. It's in other things. The Didache was one such thing. We're going down the path to small groups. That is the path we're going down. Small groups. Right. We're going down the small group path. What does that mean? That means we're going to have small groups as a way to get people back into church. And to legitimize it, to make it as real, sacred as possible, we're going to incorporate things from the Didache, going all the way back almost 2,000 years. Solid roots, not, hey, I'm enlightened, I'm L. Ron Hubbard, I'm Joseph Smith, I'm Martin Luther, I'm Calvin, I'm Zwingli, I'm Ellen White, I'm Mary Baker Eddy, I'm all these people. No, not divine revelation, going back to the early church, because we can, with AI, we now have access to not just the original things, but we have access to things people wrote, things experts wrote on the subject. So we don't become an expert, but we become much more knowledgeable. So the Didache of small groups attached down below. Get your copy now. It's short. It's only 4 pages. How to do a small group using the Didache as a structure or part of it. Okay, well, that is it. That's it for today. Tomorrow is Sunday, and we're going to say and cut.